The Phantom of the Opera was received relatively mixed by critics and audiences. But in the 1930s, Universal was about to hit their stride and create one of the most fondly remembered horror series of all time, the Universal Monsters. And the movie that put them on the map was the influential and still beloved 1931's Dracula. By the end of the 1920s, Universal had officially caught up to the Germans, and not only that, they would surpass them in the 1930s. The 1930s essentially belonged to Universal, while there were other companies doing horror movies like RKO Radio Pictures and Paramount Pictures. Universal became the official kings of the 1930s, and it all started with 1931's Dracula. Unlike F.W. Murnau, who made a Dracula movie but changed some of the names around, Carl, this guy, actually lived by the honor system and asked Bram Stoker's heirs for the permission to film a movie based off of the legendary book, and he was given the rights. Surprisingly enough, Dracula was a Broadway play before it was a movie, and guess who just so happened to play Dracula in that Broadway play? Bela Lugosi. By all accounts, Bela Lugosi is one of the greatest horror movie actors of all time. Despite the fact that he had been acting since 1917, this movie launched his career. But throughout his run on Broadway and the eventual movie, he was afraid that he would become typecast. He would end up saying, when he was asked to play Dracula again for Universal, "No, not at any price. When I'm through with this picture, I hope to never hear of Dracula again. I cannot stand it. I do not intend that it shall possess me." In a weird roundabout way, though, Lugosi would end up being typecast as a horror movie villain throughout his career in movies like White Zombie, Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Black Cat, and Plan 9 from Outer Space. But unlike the 1920s, where it's just one great performance and then everyone else just filling bodies, this had a pretty stacked cast for the time. Edward Van Sloan, a famous character actor, played Abraham Van Helsing, and he was equally great. But the best of the supporting cast has to go to Dwight Frye as Renfield. His laugh will legitimately send chills throughout your entire body. He's the kind of person that you would actively steer clear of if you're anywhere near him. This movie was also one of the first horror movies to have sound, and they more than used that to create some severely gothic atmosphere. Caverns and the lengthy staircases of Dracula's castle have now become iconic. And if you really think about it, this entire movie has become iconic. If you think of Dracula, you close your eyes and you immediately think of Bela Lugosi. This is the quintessential American Dracula movie of all time.